Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, my name is Stephen Kariongi. Today we discuss Form 1 Biology and our topic of discussion is the cell. The cell is a topic in biology that is offered in Form 1. It is the third chapter. Now, the first thing before we look at the topic on the cell, it is important to understand what are the objectives of this particular topic. So we look at the chapter objectives. And the first objective, as the topic is called, it is important to understand the meaning of the cell. So that will be the starting point. The second objective, we shall also study the purpose of a light microscope in the study of the cell. The purpose of a light microscope in the study of the cell. Number 3, we'll also study the parts of a light microscope and their function. The parts of a light microscope and their function. Objective number 4, still on the microscope, we'll also study the use, how to use the microscope, the use and care of a light microscope. How are we supposed to take care, and also how to use the microscope. And then after that, we'll compare the light microscope with electron microscope. In terms of magnification, and resolution. Number 6, we'll study the cell structures as observed under a light and electron microscope. So we shall study the cell structures as observed by both types of microscopes, that is light and electron microscope. Then 7, we'll study the structure and function of cell organelles, the various structures within the cell. How do they carry out their function? We'll also look at that. Number 8, we will prepare temporary slides from plant specimens. We'll prepare temporary slides from plant specimens. And then 9, we'll examine permanent slides from animal specimens. We'll compare plant cells and animal cells. Number 11, finally, we'll study the relationship between cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems. So those will be our objectives of the entire topic, and there are quite a number. And basically we'll start with the first one, which is understanding the meaning of the cell. And basically we can say that a cell is the basic unit of life. And in other words, we can say that the smallest unit in which life can exist is in form of a cell. We have different organisms. Some are made of one cell. We refer to them as unicellular organisms, like bacteria, amoeba, and so on and so forth. We have other organisms that have many cells. We refer to them as being multicellular, multiple cells. For example, the common plants and animals, they have many cells. So basically we are saying that all those organisms, the basic unit is the cell. So in our introduction, the cell is the basic unit of life in living organisms. As we have single-celled organisms are said to be unicellular. Unicellular, they have a single cell. And we have examples of most bacteria. We have things like amoeba. We have other examples of protozoa such as Plasmodium. Then we have organisms with many cells. Are said to be multicellular, multiple cells. Multicellular, e.g. the common plants and animals. So basically what we are saying is that we will not restrict ourselves to plants and animals only, but we'll also look at the microorganisms. We'll study bacteria, we'll study amoeba, we'll study various microorganisms, what we are calling unicellular organisms, single-celled organisms. And we'll also study those organisms that have multiple cells, that is the multicellular organisms. So basically, we've seen that organisms are made of cells, and we have a different number of cells in different organisms. The other thing worth mentioning at this point as part of the second objective, we'll also discuss the microscope, because the microscope is the one that enables us to see the cells. The cells cannot be seen by the naked eyes without any equipment. So we'll also study the microscope and see what are the various parts of the microscope and how do they perform their functions. Then we can go on with the other objectives, the care and the use of a microscope. How does the microscope, light microscope, compare with the electron microscope? We look at the cell structures that can be seen using different microscopes, that is light and electron microscope. We'll also study the functions of those organelles. We will prepare slides, temporary slides from plants. We don't prepare temporary slides from animals. We only prepare them from plants. For animals, we'll examine permanent slides. We'll see them. And then we'll compare plants and animal cells. And then finally, we'll study the relationship between cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems. So that marks the end of our today's lesson. We'll continue from where we have reached today. Goodbye.